in 3, 2. So normally she joins us every Monday. We recap the football weekend, but I have been in Europe. I was in London. I was in Paris. And now we are back with an all-new episode of ZASLOW Show 2.0 on a Wednesday to start our week, which means Amber Wilson is with us on Wednesday for this week only. And all of Amber's appearances are presented by Sawgrass Infinity, Florida's #1 volume Infinity dealer. That's right. At Sawgrass Infinity, we're talking at least 400 new Infinity models in stock at all times. Go to sawgrassinfinity.com. Conveniently located off the Sawgrass and Commercial Boulevard. Sawgrass Infinity, where the commercial ends and the savings begin. Amber, good to see you. Did not get to see you in person this past weekend. This past weekend. That's right. And I took myself away to Europe. Amber, true or false? When you think of me, you think of Europe.
Very false. How is Paris? Did you tell her I miss her? I miss Paris.
Paris. I mean, what a city. I got to go to the Louvre, and I saw the Mona Lisa. Very small, that Mona Lisa.
Very overrated, that Mona Lisa. I hope no
you
French
think
people
so?
are listening and be offended. Very overrated, that Mona Lisa in person.
How close were you able to get to the Mona Lisa?
The crowd's stupid. It's all insane. And they're all trying to hover around this tiny little painting that's protected with all the bulletproof glass and the flash glass and all that sort of stuff. And the security is all there and people get crazy. And I gotta be honest, it's just a painting, ZASLOW. There's like a million other paintings in the Louvre that are so much better than this damn Mona Lisa. I do not get it. I am no art historian, okay? I get all that crap. But also, what? What is that? It's just a painting. It's fine. It's fine. There's really spectacular stuff in that museum. Not the Mona Lisa that doesn't have a whole crowd around it in bulletproof glass.
I mean, it was really difficult to get close to the Mona Lisa, and I would say it was about 25 people deep. Like, it was really hard to get close to it. And you're right, it's tiny, which I expected. I knew it was tiny, but it's a tiny painting, this Mona Lisa. And, I thought it was cool seeing it in person because you've seen on television and movies, your entire life, and then you see it in person. But, you're not the first person I've heard that says overrated Mona Lisa. And by the way, not that attractive of a broad either, if we're being honest.
No offense, Mona. The Eiffel Tower at night, sparkling Eiffel Tower at night.
That was cool.
Underrated. That lives up to all of the hype, especially. I know you went up in it. I didn't bother to go up in it, but we had an amazing time because I was in Paris a month ago. We had an amazing time. We're very fancy here on this show. Very fancy. That's what the college football campus tour does at ESPN. Just pays us the monster bucks so we can go hang out in Paris. But we had an amazing time on the lawn, hanging out for just hours and hours right in front of the Eiffel Tower and watching the sunset. And it was so cool with the kids because there's all these families that do it. They just picnic there. And my 6-year-old was playing with another 6-year-old from Ireland, and he was making friends internationally. And then my baby made friends with a baby from Ukraine. So it was really cool.
So you didn't go we went all the way up to the top. You didn't go up.
No, I'm not going up. Why do I need to go up? I've seen things from up there. I've seen things from down here. I'm good.
All right. We went all the way to the top. I'm glad, though, to get back to work. I was glad to get back to Levitard's show today. Like, it's hard out there with the time difference. It's impossible to do for any of the sports. You know how time zones work, right, Amber Wilson? You know how they work, right?
Time zones, ZASLOW. I think we need to just accept that the sun sets different times in different parts of the world. But yes, I'm familiar with time zones and also familiar with your take on the Lord's time zone.
Well, I think I'm right about that, all right? It was impossible to keep track of any of the sports going on while I was out there in London and Paris. But speaking of which, you haven't had shows recently because during your time slot, MLB, you got American League Championship, you got National League Championship. This is my first day back, so the two of us, we have not been able to react to it. Let's get to it. Dolphins here, Amber. Both of us, I'm sure, have a lot to say about it. Dolphins dropped to 1-5 after this past weekend's last-second loss to the Los Angeles Chargers. That part's not particularly interesting because this team sucks balls. We know they're not any good. The part that was interesting, though, is Tua post-game. So we've heard it. Everyone listening here has heard it, but I'm going to play it anyway so both of us can react. Here we go.
Well, I think it starts with the leadership in helping articulate that for the guys, and then what we're expecting out of the guys, right? We're expecting this. Are we getting that? Are we not getting that? We have guys showing up to player-only meetings late, guys not showing up to player-only meetings. Like, there's a lot that goes into that. Do we have to make this mandatory? Do we not have to make this mandatory? So it's a lot of things of that nature that we got to get cleaned up, and it starts with the little things like that.
I mean, Amber, he's talking about players only stuff here. He's a captain. He's a captain, and he's the quarterback. He's a captain. He's the quarterback who they're paying $200 million to. If you're questioning the leadership, you're the leader. Like, what are we talking about here?
Oh, I think I'm the only person on earth that heard this differently. What I very clearly heard Tua say was, it starts with the leadership. We, blah, blah, blah. We, blah, blah, blah. That's an indication he is a leader and that it starts with the leadership. And other people were tweeting out who actually were there in person that it was clear at the time in person to the people sitting in the room listening to Tua speak that he was making a reference to himself as part of leadership. What's happened since then is what y'all are doing on the Levitard show, what you're doing right now, what I've heard everybody but our network at ESPN. What's happened since then is everyone's talking about how Tua, with those comments, he's deflecting blame. He's blaming Mike McDaniel. He's not taking the onus on himself, which I think is quite literally the opposite of what he was doing. I think he's saying it starts with leadership. I'm the quarterback of the team. Nobody seemed to hear it that way. And that's really the bigger problem here. I'm not blaming any of you guys for not hearing it that way, but that's where we're at with Tua. Nobody hears the things Tua is saying as positive in any way because, for whatever reason, Tua Tagovailoa has always been the most controversial, polarizing quarterback in the entire NFL, which is so weird because he's the most vanilla dude on planet Earth. On the field, off the field, he's just okay on the field. Off the field, he never really does anything. And so we then, if he gives us any nugget of anything out of his mouth that maybe doesn't sound like cupcake quarterback speak, everybody goes insane. And now he's not taking any ownership. And him calling out players for not showing up to a players only meeting or being late, it would be considered leadership had they been winning games. Like, we'd be like, oh, good job, Tua, trying to hold everybody accountable in his locker room. And that's what you're supposed to do as a starting quarterback of an NFL team. It's just the narrative around Tua at this point. And again, I'm not blaming you guys because this is just where we're at. But the narrative around him is just stupid at this point. And I don't think that there's any correcting it until Tua goes to another team and has another chapter of his career. And there will be one because he's just okay. And most guys in the NFL are okay. And, look at the difference with Daniel Jones right now or Mac Jones right now. Pick a Jones and look at the difference, what they look like on other teams. And that's what happens to okay dudes. And Tua's one of those dudes.
Okay, so a couple of things. Let's start with this. Number one, your point is well taken in regards to people who were there talking about the context that they heard it in, and it's different from what people like me heard. I would push back on that because if that were the case, why did Mike McDaniel have to come out the very next day and say that he spoke to Tua and they both came to the conclusion that the way Tua went about that was not the right way of going about things?
Because now we're at this place where everybody screams about Tua not taking accountability or lack of leadership or everything Tua says is wrong. We're at that place. And so the national media went insane with that comment from Tua. Play it back again. He clearly goes, it starts with leadership, we. The next word out of his mouth is we. That's an inclusion, that he's part of leadership, which of course he is. He's the damn quarterback of the team.
Okay, you're right about that, but when you're the quarterback and the face of the franchise and captain, it doesn't need to be we. It needs to be I. It's me. It's I. There's no we. You're the captain.
Well, first of all, he's not the only captain. the Miami Dolphins, right? But
Right,
also,
but he is the quarterback. He's
there are
the
other
guy.
leaders. There are other leaders. So it's collectively we, which I think he's including all the leadership of the team needs to do a better job, but he includes himself in that. And here's my pushback. This is what I hate so much. Why do we need the bullshit? Because then all we get is the bullshit. So what? We need Tua to go up there and go, I need to do a better job. When we all actually know that mofo defense needed to do a better job with 46 seconds left on the clock. That's what he wants to say. What he wants to say and get up in there in front of that mic is he wants to say, I led an 8-play drive with a touchdown pass and gave the ball back with 46 seconds left. And all my stupid defense had to do was make a tackle. And they couldn't do that because they're inept and incapable. And those dudes aren't showing up to player-only meetings when I'm trying to have them. So if you're not going to show up to player-only meetings, maybe make a freaking tackle. That's what Tua wanted to say. And he didn't say it, but he said a little bit more than just, I need to do better, period. And so then the media goes in on him. And I just hate when we do that because I already hate all the cupcake bullshit that these guys give us. Tell us how you really feel. Tell us what you really think. And the reality is, Tua ain't the one that lost that football game.
Well, and the second part, though, that I want to get into with you is, and just give me a one-word answer here, because then I'm going to bring up something else. If they won that game against the Chargers, does Tua bring this up? Because look, they would have been 2-4. It's a shit record anyway as well. Would he have brought up how our biggest problem right now, or one of our problems is, leadership and guys showing up to meetings, showing up late, missing meetings? Would he have brought that issue up had they won the game on Sunday? Just give me a one-word answer.
No.
Okay. Obviously you're right about that. So what the conclusion that we're to draw then is, if the Los Angeles Chargers missed a field goal as opposed to making a field goal, which they did, if the Chargers miss a field goal,
which they
then
almost
so if the Chargers miss a field goal, the late to meetings, the not showing up to meetings, leadership, none of that needs to be brought up then. And that's stupid.
Okay, but also stupid is if the holder can't get a miraculous hold on a ball that was a terrible snap for the Chargers and that thing doesn't go through the uprights. That's also the difference between us talking about how Tua really pulled through with a game-winning drive and the next day, Chris Canty on Unsportsmanlike talking instead about how Tua needs to be benched by Stephen Ross.
Well, no, he doesn't need to be benching him is stupid. Benching him is stupid.
That's what's happening that's what's happening on our network. I tune in the next day and on Unsportsmanlike, they're all three having a conversation forever about how Tua is this and Tua is that and Tua needs to be benched and we're dissecting everything that comes out of Tua's mouth. And Tua wasn't the freaking problem in that game. Tua is not great. Tua is not a great I have since the day we drafted Tua said we should have drafted Justin Herbert the day. But also, he's not terrible. It's spun out of control now where this big problem with the Miami Dolphins is Tua, because I think that's lazy football analysis. And generally that's what we do, right? It's easy to blame that guy. He's the most visible guy on any team. And so we blame the quarterback position. And the reality is that if you put Justin Herbert on this team, they would still suck because they suck. And he doesn't have a defense, and the defense sucks. And we all knew the defense was going to suck going into this season.
And also the irony, of course, is not lost, where all of this happened in a game against the Chargers, and it's Justin Herbert, and it's Herbert making the play at the end of the game. Now, not that, Tua made plays too. 8 for 8, but here's the thing. The play that Herbert made is the play that Tua is incapable of making.
That's fine.
The getting out of the pocket, the athleticism, the making something out of nothing, it's literally probably the biggest deficiency that Tua has.
Right. And that's why I wanted to draft Justin Herbert. We knew that at the time. And I was, you were a big Tua fan and I was never a Tua fan. I always wanted Herbert. But in fairness, if I'm being objective here, Justin Herbert also for years in the National Football League, we were asking, is he good? Is he as good as advertised? And he didn't look like a top 6 pick either for a long time. And it's just this season that we think, okay, because he's got the right coach and now they're headed the right direction. And now we're starting to realize, even though yes, he was always capable of those moments, but people forget those moments unless you're on a decent team. And Tua's not on a decent team. And so the result was what the result was because of the defense. And so nobody remembers that before that Tua did actually lead what should have been the game-winning drive. Again, I hate this because it feels like I'm always defending Tua. And I just think we're at such a dark, ugly place with Tua, with the Dolphins, like we are with Mike McDaniel, right? And we should be with Chris Greer. And that one doesn't, I don't think, get enough attention nationally. But we're just in a place where
I don't know that you're right about that. I think whenever, the Dolphins are brought up on our network, which is every day now, when Mike McDaniel is mentioned, Chris Greer is getting mentioned also.
Right. Well, and Mike McDaniel, right. And he's certainly getting mentioned. But I just think we're at a place where, we're going to have to clear the entire house. And the reality is getting rid of Tua's contract before 27 is very difficult. And but because of the narrative, I frankly feel like it's more of the narrative than it even is Tua, to be honest with you. I really do. I just think it's so toxic around him. And I think that for whatever reason, Tua has always been polarizing and he remains so
polarizing. Well, what is that reason? Is it Alabama? Like, what is the reason?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Like, Hawaii's too pretty, so we're jealous, so we don't like Samoans. Like, I don't know what we're doing there. I really don't get it. He's like the nicest, like, right? I mean, I don't know him personally, but he's just so, like, he's just a family guy. Like, do you hear anything bad about Tua ever? I don't know. He's just a dude. Why is he so
seems like a nice guy, loves his family, loves God. Like he seems like a nice enough dude. I don't know maybe it's the Alabama thing. I don't know, but he has always been a lightning rod for criticism. Did you hear this morning on Get Up? Rex Ryan was in studio, and Rex Ryan has been very vocal about Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins. And give this a listen here.
We will have our eye on the coaching situation there.
Well, I better take this.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. There's a big rumor. There's a big rumor out there.
Yeah.
Have you heard from the Dolphins?
Oh, hell no.
Thank you.
Fair enough.
Now, hold on. Is it hell no as in they have no interest in me, or hell no, I'm not interested in that shit team?
No, I think he's hell no. They have no interest in me. I think that's what it was. That was funny. It was funny by Rex Ryan, especially if you actually watch the video of him doing it. I think it's well played. I mean, the Dolphins aren't hiring Rex Ryan, obviously. And do you have any confidence that the next hire is going to be the right hire?
As long as it's not Chris Greer. Like, Chris Greer has hired enough coaches.
Right. Well, that's why I'm so focused on the Chris Greer of it all. Like, I would rather them fire Chris Greer than Mike McDaniel.
But you can't just fire Greer like that.
I agree.
Like, there's no way. You can't just fire Greer, because if a general manager comes in and that new general manager believes that the best option for this Dolphin team is Mike McDaniel, you're already behind the eight ball as a general manager then.
Right. Well, and again, it's just a toxic environment. I think you have to get rid of all of them. But if we just fire Mike McDaniel, it does nothing. It doesn't excite me in any way. I will not feel 1 ounce more hopeful about the future if Chris Greer is the one hiring the next coach and if Chris Greer is the one drafting the next quarterback.
No, I agree. Amber Wilson, she joins us every Monday. We're doing it on Wednesday this week. I was, flaunting around in Paris and London over the last week and a half. But of course, every week that you're with us, we got to make sure we get an updated version of your power rankings. Yes. Now, of course, right now you can't hear it, but there is very dramatic NFL music that is playing in the background right now. Everyone listening is super pumped up. Let's count it down from 5 to 1 for dramatic purposes. Sometimes Amber believes that starting at number 1 is dramatic. It's not. Let's start at number 5. Amber, go ahead.
Number 5. The Green Bay Packers. I didn't know who to put here. I got to be honest with you, ZASLOW. I sort of just slapped the team here because I don't know if there's 5 good teams in the NFL right now. Everybody's cannibalizing everybody. It's very hard to do power rankings at this point in the season the Green Bay Packers, that offense started slow. The offense has come along. They've started relying on the run game more. The question actually for the Packers ends up being, are they an elite defense? Which is funny because everybody told me after that Micah Parsons trade.
Parsons hasn't done a whole lot. He hasn't been this huge difference maker. Because
it's not a position that with one dude, you're all of a sudden winning a Super Bowl. I'm not saying it's not an important position in the NFL. It is. But come on, that was already a decent defense. That's not going to be the thing that gets them over the hump. So it's really only happened twice in the NFL where an acquisition on the defensive side played a massive role in that team winning the Super Bowl. One of them was Deion Sanders, and the other one was with the Packers, and it was Reggie White. So it's pretty rare. Right. And listen, the story's still unwritten, and they're in my power rankings. They're creeping up because, again, that offense has started clicking. But we'll see where the Green Bay Packers end up. Number 4, the Buffalo Bills. I don't feel very confident about this one either.
They've lost 2 in a row, and they're still in your top 5?
They're still in my top 5, and the teams that they did beat, by the way, have been pretty atrocious. The ones that they are laying it on, they've been missing a lot of guys, Zaslow.
You're right. Amber, let's let everybody know the 4 wins that Buffalo has had. The Ravens, terrible. Jets, terrible. Dolphins, terrible. Saints, terrible. They haven't beaten anyone.
Anybody. But they're in my power rankings because, again, the games that they've lost, they're missing a lot of pieces. I do think that Buffalo ends up being a very strong team. I still believe they're in that quarterback situation.
Very controversial list. All right.
I didn't feel good about 4 and 5. I don't honestly feel good about any of these power rankings right now. This week was a crapshoot. Number 3, the Los Angeles Rams.
No, you need to say it the way that I like it.
Oh, number 3, the Los Angeles Rams. Now, Puka Nacua, the sprained ankle, maybe that's a concern moving forward. This Rams team has kind of been hanging around my power rankings all season long. There's some ups, there's some downs. I think I like the Rams because I identify with Matthew Stafford. Last week, I too had a back epidural. No, not because I play football, just because I'm old, but I root for the old guys. I feel like a kinship here with Stafford. I'm rooting for him, so he stays in my power rankings.
Some reason to be in your power rankings.
Number 2, the Indianapolis Colts. Zaslow, stay with me here. The Colts, if the season ended today, they'd have a home field advantage, and they'd have the bye in the AFC, and Daniel Jones would win Comeback Player of the Year, which leads me to number 1, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If the season ended today, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers would have home field advantage, would have a bye in the NFC, and Baker Mayfield would have the MVP award. That is 1. That is 2. That is.
What a time to be alive, where the number 1 and 2 teams in the power rankings are Tampa Bay and Indianapolis, that feature the likely MVP Baker Mayfield and the likely comeback player of the year and maybe runner-up MVP Daniel Jones.
Yes. Just like we all predicted.
There you have it. And that is a week 7 edition of Amber Wilson's NFL Power Rankings. Amber, tell everybody how they could hear you every night except for the last 2 weeks.
Right, except for this week. You can't. You can hear baseball, but you can check us out. We are headed to Notre Dame this week on our college football campus tour, so check me and Zaz.
Are you excited? You've never been to South Bend.
I've never been to South Bend, Indiana. I am very excited. The touchdown Jesus. You know about that touchdown Jesus?
I do. I was there last year. Yes.
Right. Okay. What do you know about it?
He's Jesus. He scores touchdowns.
So we're in South Bend this weekend. Check us out on ESPN Radio and on all the social at Amber W Sports.
And of course, all of Amber's appearances here throughout football season presented by Sawgrass Infinity. Go to sawgrassinfinity.com. Sawgrass Infinity, Florida's #1 volume Infinity dealer. Great job, Amber. We'll see you this weekend in South Bend.
Bye.